Join me as I dig deep into 4 game-changing ways kindness can expand your life. Very often, we get caught up in our struggles and forget to lend a helping hand or give an ear to those in need, including ourselves. Sound familiar? We all have that voice, the one that picks apart our mistakes and leaves us in a cloud of regret. You should have done better, or you shouldn't have said that. It creeps in at night, whispers when you're alone, and leaves you with regret, stress, and a pounding heart. Or you may be being very kind to others, but find it extremely hard to be kind to yourself. But what if I told you that asking just one kinder question could turn all of that around and not only stop the spiral, but actually grow your life in unimaginable ways? So buckle up, because this isn't the fluffy, feel-good kindness you're expecting. This is transformative, scientific, and rooted in the way your brain is wired. Watch to the end for additional growth strategies and 3 actionable tips on how to be kind to yourself. The first step is kindness to yourself, replacing hindsight with kinder questions. What is the science? Let's talk about the inner critic. You make a mistake, and the first thing your brain does is scream, "Why did I mess this up?" You know what that question does? It floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol. And the worst part, it doesn't help you solve anything. But here's the science. Asking a kinder question like, "What can I learn from this?" or "How can I handle this better next time?" triggers your brain to release oxytocin and serotonin. These are the same hormones responsible for happiness and problem solving. Meet Celestina, a young professional who missed an important deadline at work. As soon as she realized her mistake, her inner critic erupted. "How could I be so careless? This is going to ruin my career." That night, she couldn't sleep, replaying the mistake over and over in her mind. But then, she remembered advice from a mentor. When you're hard on yourself, pause and ask, "What can I learn from this?" Celestina forced herself to reframe her self-talk into a need. What went wrong? What do I need? I need a solution. And how can I fix it? By morning, she not only came up with a solution for the missed deadline, but also learned how to better manage her workload to prevent it from happening again. By asking these kinder questions, Celestina effectively stopped producing stress hormones and changed her emotions and thinking from worrying to problem solving, thus focusing on generating solutions rather than being stuck at the problem side of the equation. Celestina's story isn't unique. We all fall into the trap of beating ourselves up. But here's the science. When you shift your focus from blame to learning, your brain releases serotonin, the happiness hormone. This isn't just about feeling good. It's about creating a mindset that leads to better decisions and growth. Try this. The next time you hear that critical voice, stop and ask, "What would I say to a friend in this situation?" Treat yourself with the same kindness. It's not just healthier, it's transformative. That simple act could literally rewire your brain. The second step, kindness to others, the ripple effect. You've heard it said, what goes around, comes around. But did you know that acts of kindness create a ripple effect that goes far beyond the moment? When you do something kind for someone, it's like throwing a stone into a still pond. The ripples spread, touching lives you'll never even know. Here's what's fascinating. Researchers found that witnessing or experiencing kindness increases your production of endorphins, the help us high. Even more incredible, It makes the recipient more likely to pass on kindness to others, creating an upward spiral of happiness. There is a thrill we get when we give to others, the same thrill we feel when we receive kindness from others, including random acts of kindness, and when we give to ourselves. Picture Yusuf, a single dad, juggling with work, bills, and raising a toddler. One morning at the grocery store, the cashier noticed he looked overwhelmed and quietly paid for his coffee. Yusuf was stunned by the act of kindness. That same week, he decided to surprise his neighbor, a single mom, with a cooked meal. She, in turn, donated some clothes her kids had outgrown to a local shelter. The kindness rippled outward. When Yusuf received that small act of kindness, it didn't stop with him. Scientists call this moral elevation. Witnessing or experiencing kindness doesn't just make us feel good. It inspires us to pass it on. And here's the kicker. Every act of kindness you perform multiplies through the people it touches, creating an exponential effect you'll likely never see. Studies show that people who engage in small, kind gestures have lower stress levels and higher overall happiness. Kindness isn't just a feel-good idea, it's a biological chain reaction that connects us to one another. Try this out. What's one small, kind gesture you can do today? And watch how the energy shifts, not just for the other person, but for you too. Here's your challenge. Start a kindness ripple. Pay for someone's coffee, compliment a coworker, hold the door open for a stranger, or stop and help a struggling grasshopper. Watch how it grows. The third step, kindness to your future. Building the life you want. What if I told you that kindness isn't just about being nice? It's a strategy, a tool to shape your future. Kindness is about making choices today that your future self will thank you for. Psychologists call this future self-compassion. When you are kind to yourself today, by resting instead of burning out, by saving instead of spending recklessly, by learning instead of procrastinating, you're investing in your future happiness. And the payoff? A future built on confidence and peace. Mai had a choice to make. Spend her evenings scrolling on her phone, or finally take the online course she'd been putting off. At first, the idea of studying after work felt like punishment. But Mai reframed her decision. What would my future self thank me for? She signed up for the course, studied for 30 minutes every evening, and 6 months later, she landed her dream job in a completely new field. Mai's story is a perfect example of future self-kindness. Instead of prioritizing momentary comfort, she chose long-term growth. This is what psychologists call self-compassion for the future. When you invest in your future self, you're not just being disciplined, you're being kind. Here's why this works. Small, consistent acts of kindness toward your future self, whether it's saving money, prioritizing health, or learning a new skill, build something called self-efficacy. That's just a fancy way of saying you grow your belief in your ability to shape your life. Try this. What's one thing you can do today that your future self will thank you for? Write it down and start small. Kindness to your future is the ultimate long-term investment. Ask yourself, what's one kind thing I can do for my future self today? Write it down and act on it. Your future self is counting on you. Fourth step, kindness to yourself and others. The balance of giving. Meet Noah, a wealthy philanthropist who dedicated his life to helping the less fortunate. Over the years, he gave away all his wealth to causes he believed in, feeding the hungry, housing the homeless, and funding education. But one day Noah found himself homeless, penniless, and in poor health. The people he helped admired his generosity, but they couldn't understand how he let himself fall into ruin. When asked why he didn't save anything for himself, Noah would say, "I couldn't bear the thought of keeping anything when others had so little. It felt selfish." But in the end, his lack of self-kindness left him unable to continue helping others. Noah's story is extreme, but it highlights a truth many of us live. We give and give to family, friends, our communities, without leaving any kindness for ourselves. We think it's selfish to prioritize our own needs. But here's the reality. Kindness is like inner wealth. If you give it all away without replenishing it, you'll end up empty and unable to give anything at all. Psychologists call this phenomenon compassion fatigue. When we focus entirely on others and neglect self-kindness, our emotional and physical resources deplete. Here is your growth strategy. Imagine kindness as a bank account. To make an impact, you need to maintain a balance. Start by intentionally allocating your kindness 60% for yourself and 40% for others. This isn't about being selfish, it's about sustainability. When you nurture yourself, you build the emotional reserves to give more effectively and consistently to others. Here is a practical analogy. Think about flight attendants. They always tell you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because you can't help anyone if you're struggling to breathe. The same applies to kindness. It's your oxygen mask for emotional well-being. Here are 3 actionable step-by-step tips. 1. Spend 10 minutes each day doing something kind for yourself. Reading, meditating, or enjoying a hobby. 2. Reflect on moments where you've overgiven and felt drained. Ask yourself, what would I need to replenish my energy? 3. Create boundaries to ensure you're not giving at the expense of your own well-being. Being kind to yourself is neither selfish nor a sin. Learning to be kind to yourself doesn't diminish the kindness you show others. It amplifies it. When you maintain your inner wealth, you ensure that your kindness has the strength to grow, not just for others, but for you too. Kindness isn't just about giving, it's about balance. When you learn to be kind to yourself, you multiply the impact of your kindness on the world. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. So, start filling yours today. What's one way you can be kinder to yourself today? Share it in the comments and inspire others to strike the balance between giving and replenishing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help others discover the power of kindness.